afternoon, everyone, and happy Friday. It's Alissa, Coram, and Shreve here with a look at the stock market today. And on today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the charts of Insight, Viva, and Netflix with earnings around the corner. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. And to do that, we're actually going to take a look at SPY, the S&P 500 ETF, to show you where the S&P 500 closed today, retaking that 50-day line. A strong gain today, 2.7%. The Dow finished up 3%, and the Nasdaq up 1.4%, really strengthening into the close here today, Ken.
Yeah, very, very strong close. It looked like people did not want to go into the weekend short, but it was just another great day for the stock market. Of course, after the close Thursday, futures really took off. There was news from Gilead Sciences that an experimental coronavirus treatment is showing great efficacy to treat people with serious coronavirus. This was a test done at a Chicago area hospital. So that put the market in a good mood. We opened sharply higher, at least the Dow and the S&P 500. Tech stocks lagged for a good part of the session. About an hour, I think, before the close, the Nasdaq was almost back to flat. So it really wasn't looking like a good close, but it really powered higher into the close along with the Dow and the S&P 500. So it was a great week for stocks, and I think the bulls are happy campers at this point.
Yeah, that it was. And this rally just continues to strengthen. It's quite impressive. And now let's take a look at some stocks on our radar, starting with Insight. The ticker there is INCY. A strong day for that stock, and you can add it to the list of biotechs that are testing their drugs for coronavirus treatments. So we do have that stock gaining 4.5% today. A nice breakout here, Ken.
Yeah, you know, biotechs were really in the spotlight today. Obviously, Gilead was a big gainer in the Nasdaq 100. So was Insight. So was Regeneron. All three of these companies are making very positive inroads in terms of testing drugs to treat coronavirus. Insight is very interesting because this is a company whose flagship blood cancer drug, Jakafi, is now being looked at as a treatment for COVID-19. So we'll see how that plays out with Insight. But this is another very profitable biotech. In the biotech sector, you know, there's a lot of companies that are not profitable. They don't have any sales. They have drugs in the pipeline. But Insight, Regeneron, Gilead, these are all very profitable biotech companies with earnings and sales. So Insight really made a strong move off lows, and it just blew into new high ground today. 2 straight heavy volume gains. Normally when a stock races up off lows, you might see a little bit of a pullback as it approaches a prior high, but Insight did not do that. It just broke out today, and again, it was the second straight heavy volume gain, but volume has been pretty good behind up days recently for Insight.
Yeah, that's right. It's definitely been on a tear. That is for sure. And moving on, let's take a look at Viva Systems, a breakout here too after a consolidation. Let's flip on over to the weekly chart here. So you can see it's been consolidating for quite a while, and now finally at new highs here, and that relative strength line looking pretty good too.
Yeah, this is a great visual of what a healthy relative strength looks like in new high ground, and you can see this long consolidation that Viva is in the process of breaking out of. So when you're in a confirmed uptrend, you want to keep an eye on charts like this, especially fundamental powerhouses like Viva Systems. This is a company that makes cloud-based software for the life sciences industry, kind of apropos with all the strength in biotech stocks. A lot of Viva Systems software basically helps companies bring drugs to market faster. So this is Viva's just a real solid performer here, one of the leaders in the enterprise software group, and a very bullish technical picture here.
Yeah, and one of the coronavirus plays that we've really been keeping an eye on lately, Netflix, pulled back a little today, down about 3.7% above average turnover, but the gains over the last 4 sessions have been extremely strong heading into the quarterly earnings report next week.
Yeah, this stock was added to leaderboard on Monday. Seems like a long time ago, but it was added on Monday, right there. Yep, and then four straight bullish gains. So, in light of a lot of strength this week, today's pullback really doesn't look too bad. And even
Yeah.
when you look at the volume down at the bottom there, you see four straight above average volume price gains, and the volume today was pretty light compared to what we've seen in recent days. So we're going to hear from Netflix Tuesday after the close. We're going to see another quarter of very strong growth, something that Netflix has pretty accustomed to doing in recent quarters. Yesterday, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, and really a lot of analysts in recent days have been pounding the table here, calling for what could really be a blowout quarter. So optimistic we'll see good results from Netflix, and some sellers in the stock today, but again, after four straight gains, not surprising to see a little bit of profit taking here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice to see that it was able to close around the middle of the range for the day. So it's not like the above average declines, sent the stock down all the way to the bottom of its closing range. Good to see it come off there a little bit. So we'll have to see what Netflix says next week when it reports earnings. You can bet we're keeping our eye on this one, as Ken mentioned. It was added to leaderboard, and there's quite a bit of cushion still heading into the report.
Yeah, it's a good observation too about Netflix rallying off lows. I mean, sometimes when a stock weakends and closes near its low for the day, it really just indicates a real lack of buying demand. But at least Netflix was able to close off lows today. Probably helped by a late rally for the
Mhm.
Nasdaq. But we'll see likely see pretty good numbers from Netflix on Tuesday.
All right. And we'll have to check out your earnings preview column for a roundup of stocks that are looking compelling with that earnings option strategy heading into their reports next week, as we are now, it looks like, pretty in the thick of earnings season, which could make for some interesting action.
Yeah, it's really been a good battle between call option buyers and put option buyers for Netflix. Certainly, there's a lot of Netflix bulls out there that think this stock could see more upside after earnings, and then there's the bear camp that thinks, well, a lot of good news has been priced into the stock already. We're also going to be looking at results from Domino's next week as well, another leaderboard stock. But they've obviously been hurt by the virus outbreak, but the stock has rallied back nicely, and wouldn't be surprised to see pretty good numbers from Domino's as well next week.
All right. Well, you heard it there, folks. We're going to be keeping an eye on some key earnings reports next week. And you can bet we will be analyzing all the key action next week during IBD Live. That's our morning live stream starting 10 minutes before the opening bell, running through the first hour of trade, where we share our screens and go in depth on actionable stocks and what the market is doing, which is really key right now, as we have just seen such strong gains in this new market uptrend.
Yeah, really nice week of outperformance by the Nasdaq in particular this week. The IBD 50 index of leading growth stocks also turned in a good week. So when you're in the early stages of a new market uptrend, you want to see growth stocks around across a variety of industries leading the charge. And like I mentioned yesterday, the strength has been broad-based, and seeing a lot of good action in individual stocks.
Yes, that's right. Okay, everyone, that's it for today. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you right back here next week.